So we put out a post saying Matt was going to be a guest on the podcast. You asked anything you wanted. Who takes longer to get ready?
Yeah.
Right here.
Right there.
This is for Ryan. Do you have all that energy all day, like right out of bed, even before coffee?
I have my coffee. I take it in the car to work, and you haven't even had anything
And
yet.
I'm like,
yeah, you're like running.
We're going to get to all of that in a hot second, but first I want you to know the Ryan Leckey Show is sponsored by the Vanity Lounge in Pittston, PA, northeastern Pennsylvania's premier medical spa. Visit them at vanityloungenepa.com, and when booking your first appointment and service, use code Leckey to save 15%. I'm a huge fan of the owner, Tia. She takes care of this mug all the time, so check them out. Hey, friends. It's the Ryan Leckey Show. Welcome to the Ryan Leckey Show. Hey, what is going on, friends, fam? Welcome back to the Ryan Leckey Show. Somebody I have been trying to get on the podcast couch at your request for many, many months because you want all the tea, the inside tea on Leckey's life at home. My partner for almost 10 years, Matt Madden, on the couch today.
Uh-oh.
Are you hating this? Because you're like kind of an introvert. You're not really into like social media and other stuff. And anytime I'm like, Matt, take a picture, you're like, do I have to?
Yeah, that's all you. You know, like you're more extroverted where I'm like, oh my God, do I have to?
Can we clap it up, peeps, that Matt's here? Can we? All right, the team was so excited. They were so excited for this podcast. But here's the thing. Before I just dive into like what we usually do and I just start rattling off questions, we wanted you, all of you at home who follow me on social media to drive the podcast. So we put out a post saying Matt was going to be a guest on the podcast. You asked anything you wanted for the questions. And then what my team did, they gave us 2 hats, questions for me to ask Matt and vice versa. So you ready for this? And just so you know, Scout's honor, right? I swear, right hand up to God, I have not seen these questions. So I hope they vetted them. I hope they're not too crazy.
We'll see.
But I'm excited to do this. Are you nervous, by the way?
Not at all. Actually, let's do it. Just like we're just talking.
Just like we're talking. But I know you. Are you a little
maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see what the questions bring.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So I'm just going to start pulling these out of the hat. So, by the way, and this question may come up, Matt and I, as I mentioned, have been together for about 10 years. We have a amazing son. He's a golden doodle named Matt Kahn, and that's pretty much the backstory. Yeah. But we're going to pull back the whole curtain on a relationship today in this podcast. Okay. So here's a question. This is from Marie Kodish. I love this. Do you have the same hobbies, taste in vacation spots, definition of relaxation, and how to best spend your free time? So you're going to answer that.
So the short answer to everything is yes to everything. Mm-hmm. So we love to work out together. We love to go to eat together, wherever that place may be.
We love food.
Love food.
Love food.
Love the movies. Love to go on walks with our doodles. Love to hang out.
And you said doodle, so sometimes we take my mom's dog, who's also a doodle. We only have one.
Yes.
But Phoebe Rose is my mom's dog, so we take them together.
And then we love to do stuff with family, whether it's my mom, your sister, nieces, etc.
Yeah. All right, your turn.
All right.
I'm like nervous because I haven't seen any of these questions, and I'm like, what's he gonna pull out?
Can't be that bad.
All right.
So from Kim, for me though, what do I do for a living?
Oh, okay.
So I am a principal design engineer at Gentex Corporation, right up north in Carbondale, PA. So essentially what Gentex is, we make life-sustaining equipment from the neck up, and I'm responsible for ballistic helmet design. So taking a design from initial concept development all the way through low-rate initial production.
Yeah. No, I'm going to brag on you for a second because you're always so timid. Like, we'll be out with people and like, what are you doing? Matt's like, I'm a design engineer, right? And he's real cool about it. You literally make helmets that save the lives of people in our military, but also some militaries around the world.
Around the world, yep.
And what's so amazing about it, if you like, because you're the way your brain works is like, it's like insane. He's like great at like physics and math, and I'm like, I love cupcakes. The way you do this, sometimes companies will approach you guys and say, I need this type of helmet that weighs this spec and stops this type of bullet, and you have to design it from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's the government, whether it's the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, and then there's also a lot of commercial applications worldwide that they approach us for.
Right, and I'm going to brag on you again because I'm always so proud of you. You have 2 degrees. wicked smart though, right? And then here's me. I'm like, let's go on TikTok, and he's like, I'm solving world problems. All right, so my next one, and I want you to know too. I think the world of what the work Gentex does, not just because you work there, but I think the stories that you guys get of literally our military overseas in war zones whose lives are being saved because the helmets you guys designed from start to finish, tested for ballistics to make sure they were going to hold up, blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's so rewarding every day that sometimes when you see emails come through, whether it's a life-saving event from a ballistic event or a low-speed impact where something happens in a helicopter or something like that, you get those emails from those people to say, hey, thank you, Gentex, for saving my life. Without this helmet, I would not be here right now.
And I love the team you work with, too. They're all hilarious. They're all like brainiacs, but they're hilarious. Okay, so the next question I got, this is from Helen York. Okay, so what is your most favorite thing about each other? So you got to start.
Oh, boy. There's a lot. I think...
I thought you were going to be like, well, there's stuff that drives me nuts.
I think it's kind of going back to like the first question that we have so much in common. And I think one of the things that really sets you apart that I really like is that you listen very intently when I don't think you're really listening. So like if I'm talking and I say, oh, gosh, I really want this, or I would love to have this. Guess what? Next birthday, Christmas, whatever, not even an occasion, it's like you listen to me and then there it is. So it's kind of one of those things where you listening to me is really what makes a big difference in our relationship.
And you're surprised by that because I do have the attention span of a hummingbird.
I know, but you have hearing as good as an elephant.
Do elephants have good hearing?
I don't know.
Or
maybe memory?
Maybe a beagle, a dog, coonhound, I don't know. But you always bust me for that because I will literally, he'll drop something upstairs. He'll be talking to the dog. Like, it feels like a block away. And I'm like, what? Why did you say that? He goes, how can you hear that? I hear everything.
Everything.
All right. In my turn, right?
I thought you have to...
Oh. I was skipping over. My favorite thing about you is that you have a heart bigger than you are. You always put people ahead of you. And it's incredible. The way you treat my family, the way you treat my mom. I think the most impressive thing, and I know we're having a podcast on this, is when my mom was going through her open heart surgery and we were in ICU for more than a week and a half. You know, you were there every night with her and me, right? Watching Jeopardy with her and just kind of like distracting her and keeping her mind up, crushing her in Jeopardy. And I think watching the love that you have for my family and my mom and the way you interact with my nieces and stuff. And I think also it goes twofold, right? Like I'll tell you something about, oh, I saw this on TV or I saw this on Amazon. I was thinking about getting it. And like the next day it shows up at her doorstep, right? And I think that's why holiday times or birthdays, it's so tough to buy for each other because we try to do that for each other all the time. So that's probably my favorite thing about you. But there's a million favorite things, and that could be its own podcast. But I think my most favorite thing is your ability, your cooking ability in the kitchen, in addition to your compassion stuff. You're the best cook. Like, you make the most amazing food. He cooks for us every night. And that's probably about the new chapter. People always ask me, what is the best part of your new life, right? Like, after I left news and I started my own business, the best part of my new chapter, hands down, and I tell you this all the time, is coming home at night after you get home from the gym and you cook dinner and we watch our favorite shows together and we just eat for like an hour and a half before we go to bed.
Yeah, I mean, that never happened.
No.
Now, finally, we get home.
Because I was going to bed at 6 o'clock for how many
it's
years?
almost impossible. I got home and you were in bed, literally in bed.
And now you're yelling at me to go to sleep.
Yeah. I go to sleep way before you now.
Yeah. And I think the other favorite thing about the other person is, in addition to all the hobbies and we're big foodies, we love sleep.
Love sleep.
Love sleep.
Yeah.
Our house, we always joke, is the house of sleep. Our dog, all of us, we try to hit like 9 hours a night, 9 hours a night, 8.5 sometimes. Our dogs sometimes get like 10 or 12. So that's another favorite thing.
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot and we get tired, especially during the weekend. We got a lot going on and we have busy schedules during the week. So it's critical for that, 8 to 9 hours of sleep at night.
Yeah. And I think the other thing when I said one of the favorite things is just your heart and your passion and how you care for people. And, when my mom was recovering from open heart surgery and she was at her house and, we had to stay with her, you're like, I'll do it because I know you don't sleep well in other people's houses. And you also know my mom and I are like the same person. And I'm like, why did you do this? Don't lift the remote. It's too heavy, right? And you're like, I got it. Go home. I'll handle it. Yeah. And I was just able to breathe a sigh of relief and actually get some sleep. So that meant the world. Okay. So my turn here again. For Ryan, this is from Anne-Marie Wakoski Keeney. She goes, where did you and Matt meet, and how long did it take before both of you started living together? Okay, you gonna take this?
So we met from a mutual CrossFit friend about 9 to 10 years ago. And we weren't working out at the same gym, but we knew of each other. So we finally decided, obviously, to meet up. We had our first date.
Where was it?
Downtown Delhi in Scranton, downtown Scranton. And ultimately, I think based off of that timeline, it took about a year, maybe a little bit over, for us to start living together in downtown Scranton in an apartment.
Right. And the thing that a lot of people don't know, people who've even known me for a long time, so that's when I still worked in morning television. So I would get up sometimes at midnight. I would get up at 2 a.m. We had a loft apartment, really cool loft apartment downtown. You would get up with me. Because,
and Metcon
and the dog, because then we got the dog when you moved in, right? You would get up with me and make me breakfast every morning. Every morning at either midnight or 2 a.m. And then sometimes you would try to go back to sleep for like an hour or two.
Yeah, because I mean, I was up anyway, so might as well make the best of it.
Yeah, totally. So that answers that question. All right.
All right.
This is fun. I'm like, what's going to come out of the hat?
All right, so this is for either of us. So how about you go first? So what are your food recommendations? I know you're probably going to take a lot from me, so we'll try to divvy it up as best as possible.
Food recommendations?
Food recommendations.
Like where we would tell people to eat,
Sure,
I'm assuming.
Of course, yeah.
I would say, gosh, any mom and pop business in Pennsylvania, in northeastern Pennsylvania, we do have our favorites that we frequent and we go to and we order out from. I think for pizza, and it's really tough to narrow it down because there's so many great businesses. I don't want to offend anybody. I've eaten, gosh, pretty much every spot in Lackawanna County, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to like single-handedly call a place out because there's so many amazing restaurants and small businesses who really kill it with certain types of pizza or spaghetti or sushi. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to get in a pickle.
It comes all down to like what type of cuisine you want. You know, we have our typical pizza places that we go to. We've been doing the tour of Italy practically in the Scranton area in the past few weeks. We have our love for sushi. So, like you said, won't call out specific areas, but we've been around the block a little bit.
Yeah, with food. And I have to say as well, it's the people who make those restaurants.
Like they're like family almost.
We like to go back. We like to call them. And if you're ordering a pizza and like, hey, how's it going? And you get to talk to them. And I feel like they've gotten to know our lives, right? Because, you know, with my social media channels, you know, a lot of my life, I always tell people I'm like an open book and people have gotten to know you. And has that been creepy, by the way? Like, because sometimes I think when we first started dating, right, people come on and be like, yo, how's the dog? Or how was that breakfast you made? And you're like, God, does he have to post everything?
No, not. I mean, it used to, but not, I mean, once you get used to it, it's nothing. And I kind of like it now. But the thing is when someone comes up and said, hey, Matt, I know you, and it's not you, that's when I'm like, I win, I got him.
I love that. All right, so those are the recommendations. So this is mine. All right, for either. And let's see, what is the key to your relationship's longevity, and what advice would you give to other couples?
So it's funny because we kind of already talked about this, but I think number one is kind of what we talked about before was just listening to the other person. I think that's critical. Allowing that person to come home from work and tell you about your day, maybe blow off some steam, etc., and just be there to listen to that person. I think being able to talk about and be there for the person, like specifically for you, hey, you had a big career jump and I was there the whole time supporting you. And I think that's critical in a relationship where, hey, if you want to do something, you have to be supportive in that other person's future or development.
Yeah, that was a pivotal time in my life, and thank God I had you a part of it. Like, you and my mom were amazing, but us living together and being together for so long, I remember, you know, and I would say this to anybody, when you're switching a career and making this jump after 21 years, right? So here was me. I was like, I have a great paycheck. I have a great gig. I love the people I work with. And I'm like, I'm going to quit and I'm going to go try to open up my own company. And that was never on the radar, starting my own business, when we met, right? It was like, hey, I'm working in morning television. I love what I do. But then after a while, you're like, okay, what's next? And I do remember, and I think what people didn't see, there were many times, especially the last 6 months, when I said, like, I am closing this chapter of 21 years and trying something new. I was an emotional mess.
Yeah,
There were times you
were
would,
scared about the future.
Yeah.
But you had to take that leap.
and I never would have taken that leap had I had not had
Yeah.
you like in my corner to, to cheer me on, to support me, right? But it's funny because people are like, oh, is Matt going to have you take like 3 months off and relax? And I go, it's like living with Susie Orman. I was off for like 1 day and he's like, get to work. We got bills to pay. The dog needs to get food, right?
Where's the mortgage?
Yeah, yeah. No, but I think for you, I had this safety blanket, right? I just felt so safe and secure. I felt so supportive. And you're like, look, I don't care. Go shoot your shot, whatever
Yeah.
that looks like.
Yeah, whatever that is.
And I never would have done that if I didn't have someone like you as my rock to lean on. And I just remember looking back on it. There was times you would come home and you'd be like, hey, guess what happened at work? And I would just lose it. I was just like an emotional, anxiety-ridden mess because I kept saying, like, am I making the right choice? I'd done the same thing for 21 years. I was so comfortable, right?
Yep.
And I got out of my skin.
You did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next one.
I think it's me.
Okay. Your turn.
That's a big one. So this is for me from Cheryl Ann. The two of you have very different personalities. How do you make your relationship work surrounding those differences? Does Ryan's energy ever get on your nerves?
I'll say yeah.
So it's kind of funny because we were just talking about this before we are doing this podcast, is that I'm more introvert where you're more extrovert. So yeah, it sometimes is a little bit uncomfortable, but you get so used to it that it doesn't become uncomfortable. So if anyone knows your mom or your sister, they know where it comes from because
Yeah.
you're exactly like them.
I always say if you meet my mom and my sister, you understand
You
me.
understand completely. So once you're in that atmosphere, it's like totally normal. So it's so used to it by
And
now.
you get it double. Now that my mom has moved to northeastern Pennsylvania, we're with Matt all the time, and it's like two happy yellow labs like hyped up on too much caffeine, and we're like, Matt, and you're like, oh my God.
And then so the second portion of the question is, does Ryan's energy ever get on your nerves? So sometimes. So the only time it does is when we're trying to have a conversation and you're going off on a tangent in like 4 different places.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, squirrel.
Yeah.
But like, no, come back to me. We need to talk, stuff like that. So that'd be the only time we're like,
And I'm guilty
gets
of
on my
that.
nerves.
Or we'll be talking. I'll get a text. Oh my God, hold on. I got to
Yeah,
answer
you got
this
too
right.
much going on.
Yeah, I totally admit that.
Yeah.
I have to say Matt never gets on my nerves. It's weird. Like I know I sometimes like will drive him crazy, but I have to say even, because people are like, oh, your relationship, like, yeah, we post a lot of great stuff, but like any couple, sometimes we'll have like small disagreements, but our disagreements usually last like 2 minutes and then we're like, let's go play pickleball. Okay, sounds great. And we just move on.
Yeah.
But that's been that way for 10 years. Like we've never had a night where we go to sleep angry.
No.
We never have any confrontation in the morning, right? It literally will last like probably like 2 minutes at the most. And then it's like, hey, you want to go eat? Okay,
Yeah,
let's go get
eat.
pizza. The food, it solves everything. All right. So for either of us, who makes the important decisions?
So when it comes to more, I think, financial decisions, that would be me.
Yep.
But I think all of the other decisions probably come from you. I know you like to put a lot of the decisions on, again, where we're going to eat, on me always, because I feel like I do some research.
He's so good at it. Like when, like we were in Philly for 2 weeks, when my mom had her surgery and you found all these little hole in the wall places. And I'm like, how do you do it? Me, I'd probably be like, okay, I guess I'm going back to Wawa.
Like I'm just going wherever you want to.
Yeah.
Wawa.
Yeah, but like that's like, I don't know, your wheelhouse. And I'm always like, we're going to eat great food. And I don't have to think. It's like when we go on vacation.
Just take me there.
You just, and I'm like, just tell me where to sit down and start
Yeah.
eating, right? But I definitely agree with you, the financial decisions. And I think you've been really instrumental in helping me pivot and grow my business because I don't make a business decision, whether it's related here or what's going on in the business without discussing it with you. And same with my mom, but really with you to be
absolutely.
like, is this going to be a smart financial move? And you're really good with like, obviously mathematics, right? So numbers and doing the breakdown and looking at projections and everything, because you do that as part of your job.
Exactly.
Where me, sometimes I'm like, sure, let's jump off the cliff and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I love the questions that we're getting.
I mean, what decisions do you make though?
I think I make the decision sometimes when it's like, sounds so cheesy, like maybe technology to buy for a house or like, I don't know, like decisions.
Yeah, you're good with that.
I think
though.
mine sometimes are like the decisions on like where we should go vacation. Let me call these people, right? And are you okay with it? Like I'll book the vacation, but then sometimes you plan where we're going to eat, right? Like some of those decisions, I think I make those, or I try to like take the leap if it's like, you know, maybe we need a new car and I'm like, I want this one, let's just do it. And then you most of the time go along with the flow, unless it's like a really stupid financial decision.
exactly.
So, all right. So the next question, okay, this is from Harry Robertson. Do you guys ever think of having children?
So we have a son, Metcon, right now.
Our
who's
golden
a
doodle.
Golden doodle. I feel like yes, for me personally, yes. I think I love kids. I honestly think I'm
And you're so good with
with
kids.
kids. Yeah. But I think what is hard for me to get over is that infancy level, and if I had was able to adopt, we were able to adopt a child that was like 2, 3 out of that infancy phase, I'd be like, oh yeah, all about it.
I would adopt them when they're like 17, so they have 1
17.
year and then they're on their own. No, but I also say, and I tell all my friends, and my friends see this too, you are so good with kids. You're always great with their nieces growing up. Or I sometimes felt like the bad, like, I'm going to say it's like stereotypical, the bad, like gay uncle. You just get the niece, right? Take a cute picture and be like, okay, take her. She's moving. I can't juggle this. No, I think thinking of kids, I think you and I are also very career driven, and we know, like, do we have the bandwidth and time for that now, right? And I really commend whether it's, couples who have children or same-sex couples who adopt and have kids or however that plays out. I think we think about it. I think at the point of our lives, like, especially with my career change and what you got going on, it's not there yet, but I always think, like, you'd be the best dad. I feel like my attention span's so bad that sometimes I'd be like, did I feed the kid tonight?
But I think we always figure something out. So I think if we ultimately made that decision, I think we would be able to pivot accordingly and figure that out.
Love it. All right.
I think it's me.
Oh.
All right. So this is for me from Holly Jane. Is Ryan always so energetic? So yes, up to a certain point. So from the moment he wakes up, yes, he's energetic. Throughout the day, yes. When we get home and start winding down for dinner, it's been a long day, it just shuts off and it's time for bed. So,
And I'm like, I have a light switch.
yeah,
It just goes
yeah,
off.
it
I don't
goes-
have that middle
when
ground.
he's done, he's done.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, Matt will tell you, I never was one of those people like, oh, I'm starting to feel tired. When I'm done, it just light switch goes off. And my team knows after 7 o'clock, don't text me or call me half the time. We're asleep by 7:30 or 8, right? Even though I don't have to get up at 2 a.m., we love getting our sleep. But you're right. When I'm
I mean,
done,
when
I'm
I
done.
see you in the mornings now, thankfully, because I never used to, even when you're awake now and I'm downstairs getting ready for work, you're like all energetic and I'm still kind of
Waking
somewhat there.
Right.
And I'm just like,
But I also think,
yeah.
and I love my other favorite thing about Matt is his laugh. He has this laugh that you could hear it from like a mile away. But the thing is, I have to point out, I think when we talk about, the energy level and being like extroverted, for me though, I'm like my mother, I need to go into my cave. So when you and I are watching television together, eating dinner, I think too right now, that's why I was like yawning. And I'm catching myself yawning because when I'm with you, it's such a comfortable, safe space. And it almost, my body's like, oh, it's Matt time now. So you can just chill and relax. For me, that's me going into the cave and recharging, right?
Yeah.
That's where, because you know me, when I'm done. And then you don't want to be around anybody and you just need to unplug.
Oh, I know when that happens.
And you
yeah.
know that. Like we've been at weddings together
Yep.
before with people. We've done parties and I just shut off and you're like, you're done. And I'm like, we got to go.
Yeah, I just look at you like, you're done? Yeah, exactly.
And the switch is off. Okay, here's a cool one. This is for either of us. This is from our friend at the NEPA Pizza Review.
Okay.
All right, love this guy. He goes, what is your favorite pizza and from where? So since he asked, we just got to spill the tea.
Me or you first?
You can go.
So it's pretty nostalgic for me. So Mainline Pizza in Dixon City on Main Street is probably my favorite. It's been in my family since I was this tall, probably about 4 or 5 years old from what I remember. We used to go down to my grandmother's house every Friday night. We used to get Mainline Pizza every Friday night, watch TV as a family, and just eat again, food surrounding everything. But Mainline just holds a special place in my heart. And whether it's, this tastes the same as it did 30 years ago to now, it's still amazing, and it seems like it's just getting better and better.
And I think you being a local guy who was born and raised in done more than Dixon City, right? But a local to northeastern Pennsylvania, you have just opened my eyes to so many different places. I will never forget, by the way, this is back in the day. Do you remember when we moved into our townhome? So we had people who helped us move, like our friends, and me not knowing the area still. Because I would like eat in downtown Scranton when I lived there, but like there's not a ton of like hardcore like pizza shops everywhere, like in certain communities. And I remember I was in such a pinch and I just wasn't even thinking. And I spent all this money, and I'll just say I ordered tons of pizza from a chain restaurant
Without
and
me knowing.
without you knowing, and you're like, are you kidding me? With like mainline pizza now in our backyard, you ordered this from a chain?
The pizza capital of the world, practically in our backyard.
I'll never forget that. But you have opened my eyes to all the good
Shunned.
pizza. Yeah, and I think for mainline pizza though, our favorite a tray of hot wing pizza, a large tray of bacon and black olives. But we like mainline pizza in Dixon City. We're also fans of Luigi's and Oliphant.
Yeah, great.
The Mid-Valley special with bacon and black olives is our jam. Also a buffalo chicken pizza. I like our Metas in Gibson, Susquehanna County, for their meat lovers, right? And there's so many others, really so many great mom and pop shops here. And we love eating in all of them. Like I could literally sit on this couch and start listing off all the places like Rossi's or Samario's or Casabella. And it's just like, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we try everywhere, but we have a few go-tos that we
we usually order enough for like a lot of people, even though it's just us and we have like bags.
No one wants to see our freezer.
Yeah, it's just bags of leftover pizza that we froze. Tons of it. Okay, so this is, I guess, my question here. This is for either of us from Linda F. Okay, if you were stranded on an island together, what is the one thing you would absolutely not allow the other to bring?
Oh, so easy.
What is it?
Your phone.
But how are we going to get off the island?
I'd have my phone.
Oh, okay.
But not your phone.
We'll tell everybody why.
You're glued to that thing, and sometimes you need to know when to shut it off. Especially, I mean, we were just talking about me having a conversation with you, and you're like, "Oh, my phone. Well, hold on a second."
And I'm like, "Hey, Eric from the office is texting me." And that's why sometimes I'll message the team, and I'm like, "I have to put my phone away. I'm getting yelled at."
What people don't know is that sometimes when you're winding down and you said you're going to bed, is that I'm still watching TV a little bit, and little did I know, I hear like something like maybe a half hour later in the kitchen. He's been standing there for a half hour. You've been standing there for
just
literally
mindless
a half hour.
scrolling.
Mindless scrolling of memes and GIFs and whatever.
And you know that because I'm sending them to you
like
in your
I thought
DMs.
You were going to bed.
Yeah, no, totally. And I'll go through. I find myself, and I think people are guilty of this. You start scrolling on social media, and then literally a half hour, an hour later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still standing in the kitchen, leaning against the counter, and I'm DMing my team, like funny clips, but also you, and you're like, you need to go to bed.
All right, so this is from Pam. Where did Metcon get his name? I'll let you take that.
Metcon, so Matt and I met about 10 years ago through a mutual friend. By the way, shout out to our friend Justin. Who introduced us. He's like, hey, you guys should talk. And again, that was 10 years ago when not a lot of people were as comfortable in their skin as they are now, and people were really, I want to say, encouraged to express who they were. Like, all out and proud, right? As much as I think society is cool with today, right? And we're still working on that, and there's still a lot of work to be done. But Metcon, our golden doodle, got his name because we were both big CrossFitters, and in CrossFit, every day for the workout, they would post on the board the Metcon, right? And the Metcon was the workout of the day. Metcon stands for metabolic conditioning. So we would always be at CrossFit together and be like, hey, what's the Metcon today? Or do you guys know what the Metcon is? Or, other people call it a WOD, workout of the day, but it was always listed as the Metcon. So we were like, wow, that's a crazy name. And it was your idea to say we should name, if we're going to get a boy puppy, we're going to name him Metcon. I'm like, well, that's interesting. But when people meet him, even our neighbors, when we got to meet with them and they came into our lives like 8 years ago, who were like Metcon's grandparents, they even said, they're like, he looks like a Metcon. Like, there's no other one. There's no other golden doodle like it. He doesn't have a name that everybody else has. He's literally Metcon. And it just works for him. All right. My turn. For either of us, this is from Lola Copa 66. What is the one pet peeve you have about each other?
I think I have two about you, and I think you already know them. So one is not necessarily related to work, but you always seem to be late to some events. I'm always like in the car, honking on the horn a little bit.
Guilty.
Like, oh my God, here we go. I love to be early. like 10, 15 minutes early, like real early. So that's a huge pet peeve of mine. You know that. And then also,
I should say it's a lot of the personal stuff I'm late for. Sometimes it's not. I try to keep us on schedule for our work projects.
yeah,
and
that's why I said
productions, and
work,
I'm
yeah,
like type A
yeah.
with the team, and I'm like, let's go. But you're right.
when we're going out with friends or going to dinner, or et cetera. Yeah. And then one other thing is, we actually talked about this the other day. Actually, you sent a meme to me the other day about this, is when you're in a completely different room, whether it's upstairs, I'm downstairs watching TV, and you're trying to talk to me and ask me questions, and all I hear is, and then I'm like, I can't hear you, and then you still continue to talk.
And then I just keep going. I'm like, how can you not hear me? I'm down. Yeah, I'll be in the living room. You'll be upstairs, and I'm like, so Matt, what do you think about this?
Or
And
I'm
he's
in
like,
the garage,
"I
and you're
can't
talking to me.
hear
I'm
you."
like, I have no idea what you're saying.
So my pet peeve, because I think growing up, like, and it's crazy because your mom's a nurse, my mom's a nurse. My pet peeve with you is I have to drag you for regular checkups to the doctor, regular like eye checkups, lab work, etc. And Matt's the person. So you hadn't been to, until we met, right? You hadn't been to like an eye doctor for like 20 some years. And of course I'm like, he's gonna go there and he's gonna have like 20/15 vision, which you did. Right? Like, didn't you have like better than 20/20 vision?
Yeah.
He had better than 20/20 vision, hadn't been to the eye doctor forever. I go get routine checkups, but I think my pet peeve with you is sometimes if you have like a nagging issue, whether it's like low back pain, maybe you pulled a muscle and it's continuously lasting, you'll sometimes let it get to the point where you're almost like could barely walk to you're like, maybe I should get this looked at. Where sometimes I try to be proactive and be like, oh, this is feeling tight. Maybe I need to stretch this. Maybe I need to do it. And that's where we're the opposite in those aspects, because I'm very big, you know, like at night, I think your pet peeve about me, I take forever to wind down at night.
Yeah.
So to go to sleep, that's what I was always amazed about you. I could come home from a shoot, right? And it takes me, like, I have to shower. Then I usually do my journal at night. I do write in it, right? Then I stretch. I'm stretching my shoulder. I'm doing mobility exercises. Literally an hour, hour and a half it takes me to wind down. You just crawl in the bed and boom, out like a light.
Out.
Yeah, and I'm always blown away by that. The part of me jealous about it, but maybe it's my OCD a little bit that I'm like, I have to go through this routine.
Yeah, I mean, I can shut it off pretty quickly.
But my pet peeve is, like, I'll be like, hey, your back's been bothering you for a bit. We should probably schedule an appointment. No, I'm good. Until literally you're like on the floor, broken, can't walk. And I'm like, okay, now it's bad. And I know things are bad when you're like, I think I need to see a doctor about something. Yeah, like if you, I don't know, pull muscle lifting and it just progressively gets worse, right? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, okay. Your turn?
I think so.
This is fun. This is like a little trivia. I hope this is entertaining for people because I'm as long as we lived together for 10 years, I'm still learning a lot about you.
So speaking of 10 years, Marjorie wants to know, when are we tying the knot?
Marjorie?
Yeah.
It's not our neighbor Marjorie,
No,
is it?
Not.
When? Well, go
Marjorie
ahead.
Reap.
Go ahead.
When are we tying the knot?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say probably relatively soon, I would say.
We talk about it.
Yeah, we talk about it, and it just has to, obviously, things have to fall in place, you know, right place, right time, whether, you know, someone has to propose, obviously, get engaged, and then plan a wedding. I mean, we've talked about sometimes just eloping as well.
The lowest key, like just go spend the money on a vacation.
But it's funny, we always talk about marriage, and we always joke around to say, you know, we love sleep, we love being, you know, in bed early. We always say that. We always joke around. We're gonna have a brunch wedding.
Literally,
our wedding's gonna be 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
when we get married, get married, right? And I always joke too, and people know me too, because people ask me that, like, when do you guys get married? And I always had a line. I'm like, why? I'm like, it's sexy because you never know when it's gonna end. Everybody holds their end up at the bargain, right? People are paying their bills. People show up, they deliver. I was like, people get married, they get lazy, and I always joke about that because I mean, look, we share it. We have a mortgage together, which we've had for close to now 10 years. We have a son, a dog together. We share all the bills together. We have all of our finances are
combined.
Like intertwined. But in all seriousness, like when that day happens, I don't know, like, would it change anything we have going now? It would be the piece of paper, right?
Just a title, yeah.
Right, just a title. I don't think it would change a lot, but we are serious that when that day happens, it'll be a ceremony that starts at 9 a.m. There'll be a brunch, and everyone's out of there by 2 o'clock in the afternoon because we got to go to sleep.
We got to go to bed.
I will tell you this, I know weddings that start at 5 and you're there partying until midnight because we'll be asleep on the floor.
We'll give them sleepy time tea.
Yeah.
As parting gifts.
Yeah. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, here's your chamomile tea. Yeah, totally. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so here's one from Deanna Casper for either of you. What's one of the most incredible things you've done together?
Wow, there's a lot. I would say we took a trip about 3 or 4 years ago now to Europe overseas, and we went to Paris, France for about a week, and we did amazing things there, whether it was museums, tours, food.
Always involves food.
Yeah, so we absolutely loved that for a week, and then we went back to kind of one of our favorite places on earth, which is Sorrento, Italy, where we were able to kind of unwind, relax, enjoy the food again, not be under any pressure to be traveling to see
to do touristy stuff.
Yeah, touristy stuff, because we've kind of already did it, so we were able to enjoy it a little bit better. Sure, we did our things, but we actually knew what to do now, so we weren't in a rush and be like, oh my gosh, we have to go here, there, everywhere.
Yeah.
So we were able to kind of relax and do that together.
I agree 1,000%. That's probably one of the coolest things we've done together. And we've done like Sorrento, Italy several times, but you hit the nail on the head. After we went back there, right, we had like a week to unwind, and that was like a feeling of home because we've gotten to know people who work over there and like spend time over there. That's definitely one of the most incredible things. But I also think, to me as well, I remember the day we got Metcon, our golden doodle, and how incredible that was. And all of a sudden we're like, now we got this little creature we got to take care of. And he's been just so incredible for our lives and just our house and everything else. So that's been amazing.
Do you want to share the story of what happened and how we got him?
Go ahead.
We were trying to figure out, hey, we're going to take this little puppy or that little puppy. And ultimately, we were...
Well, I should back up. I thought you were going to say we tried forever to rescue a golden doodle and adopt, and we didn't meet any of these requirements. It was insane.
We didn't have a backyard because we were in an apartment.
You needed a certain
gate,
height of a fence. Like I think it was like a 6-foot or 9-foot fence. It couldn't be your first dog, so we didn't meet any of these qualifications. And then
I mean, we had an elevator in our apartment, which was immediately like
we were disqualified.
No,
it was kind of crazy. But
yeah,
go ahead, talk
tried.
about. So we go to the day to meet Matt.
Yeah. So we go.
Shout out to Sunny Day.
Sunny Day Golden Doodles,
and that's SUNNYDAE Golden Doodles, which they just gave us this guy who changed our life.
Yeah.
Right?
So we were able to, go to this farm up in upstate New York, and essentially play with all the puppies. And
which, by the way, we walked in there and we're like, wow,
like, all right, come here. We need everything.
We literally almost took 10 dogs home that day.
So what happened was that we walked in and all of these dogs went crazy in the pen, and they were ready for us to play, to take them out, whatever we were going to do with them. We knew we wanted a male, so she had all the males ready. And what happened was all these puppies went crazy at this gate, but there was one little puppy in the back that just kind of sat there, like
just
super
stared
quiet,
at us.
just stared at us.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, like let's play with him. And then we also played with another little puppy, so we took them outside.
So we had two dogs
outside, and we were playing around, running around, having a great time. And ultimately, what happened was that Ryan was on his knees and trying to call one of the puppies, and Metcon we didn't know, but Metcon at the time came to you, jumped on you, licked your face, and that was kind of.
And I was like, well, he chose us.
Yep, you
Guess
chose
we're leaving.
us. So.
And I remember your mom was there.
Yeah, my mom was there.
She was there with us, and he sat with her on the way home. But I do remember that.
But that day is so memorable for me, is that I have that always as my background on my
your
phone.
Yeah, the day we picked him up.
So me and you with taking a picture with Metcon.
I love that.
As a little puppy.
A little doodle.
Smaller than as he is now.
Yeah. All right, my turn. For either, this is from Katie Ann Lloyd. Oh, this is an easy one. Who takes longer to get ready?
Wow. Do you want to answer that? Yeah.
Right here.
Right there.
Right here.
I think...
Depends on where we're going. Most of the time, it's... No, 99% of the time, it's always me.
I mean, I think maybe in and out, button to button, out of the shower, dress, and ready to go out the door, 10 minutes.
That's you.
If I have to.
Me, I'm like, maybe an hour and a half. Not because I'm like, oh, I got to take I get distracted.
Yeah, and that's why
I'm
we're
on
late
my
a lot.
I'm on my phone. I'm calling my mom, and I'm like, yeah, we're going out tonight, blah, blah, blah.
FaceTiming.
Yeah. My niece is talking to people, and he's like, we literally had to leave 10 minutes ago. I'm like, hold on, I still have to shower. This is good. It's winding down. Hopefully you're still entertained, because I'm learning a lot more about Matt.
So for from Linda. What is something the other does that you greatly appreciate, though you might not always express that appreciation?
All right, I'll start. I think for me, it's always been the way I think, you care for other people and the way you treat my mom and how you've gotten close to my mom and vice versa, right? Like I remember when I had shoulder surgery and I was going to your mom was taking me to the movies and we were doing stuff. I think watching you, like when my mom was going through this, really a traumatic event, open heart surgery, and she's in an ICU for like a week and a half, and you're really concerned about. I'm so concerned, like, oh my God, is she okay? Is she gonna make it? And watching you sit with her on the bed, because I had my laptop there and I was still working. Right, the team needed me. I had to check some stuff, and just to watch the way you interacted with her and how you cared for her to make sure she was okay, and you took her mind off of everything going on and just wires coming out of her everywhere, and it's just like that to me was like, oh my God, I was like, this guy is that probably was the thing that hit me the most about you. And the way you treat my nieces, right? Like when they come up and
they're great.
They're just such a part of our lives and our family. I think that's probably the biggest thing that just like always wows me about you. And then the way you interact with people too, like when you're out. I always say too, and I kind of feel creepy about it sometimes, like if we're at an event and I like to watch you like interact, and I not like proud Papa Bear, but I'm like watching, I'm like, oh, look at him laughing over there doing his thing, and and just watching you be you. And I think you just show up like with your heart like on your sleeve, and you're just so great to people. And I think that's what I appreciate the most, but especially how you care for the people I care about so much, and they became a part of your life, like my best friend Melanie growing up, and how she's somebody you talk to now all the time, and that's meant a lot. Your turn.
So
read the question again one more time.
Yeah, the question was, what is something the other does that you greatly appreciate, though you might not always express that appreciation?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go a different route than family. So sometimes I don't express it, but it's odd to say because I'm the engineer in the family, is that you always take control over any type of techie stuff. So you always fix something, you always do a root cause analysis, et cetera, and you always seem to fix something that has a tech issue at home.
Yeah.
And I don't show how much I appreciate it, but I always appreciate it.
Right.
It's always like you're coming to the rescue.
Because we always order like crazy gadgets.
Yeah.
And stuff, and if I can't figure it out,
I don't want to do it.
If I can't figure it out, I'm usually calling my teammate, Eric Granahan, who's here in the room. Like I'm calling him like, Eric, you got to help me fix this. Like,
I mean, I'm calling Eric about my computer too.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because I'm like,
all night.
I don't know how to fix this gaming computer.
Both true stories.
Yep. Okay, so for either of us from Kim Deo, who does Metcon like better, and does Metcon have his own bed, or does he sleep with you guys? I can tell you who he likes the best is neither one of us.
Yeah.
Who does he love the most probably in this whole world?
Marge and Dennis.
Our neighbors, Marge and Dennis, who we absolutely adore. Marge is his best friend. I know he loves us. I don't think he doesn't like one better than the other.
My guess is maybe towards you, because when he does try to cuddle with us, he's not a cuddle bug at all. He doesn't give kisses.
No, he's very
doesn't sit on
self-sufficient.
laps.
He thinks he's a human. He's like, don't touch me.
But when we do watch TV, movie, etc. at home, he does come up on the couch, but he seems to always tend to go towards you.
Right. And when coming back to my hour and a half wind down routine at night, Metcon is always there with me.
Yep,
when I'm
stretching.
stretching,
He's
laying
stretching.
on the floor with me. He's hanging out with me. But I definitely have to say, like, the person he loves probably the most is our neighbor
Hands
Marge.
down.
Easily. And Metcon, actually, it's funny where he sleeps. He does not sleep with us. And because we're also big proponents of sleep, right? And the impacts animals can have in the bedroom and everything else. He always had his own bed, but like literally had his own bed. So Metcon sleeps in our guest room, and he has a queen bed. And he has a whole bedroom, like that's where he sleeps. He has little stairs, and he sleeps in a queen bed. Not a dog bed, a queen bed. And if he's not on the queen bed, he's on the couch. But like the queen bed is his jam, and he gets up when he wants to. He goes to bed when he wants to, and he's his own person.
Loves it.
Yeah, definitely. All right. I think you have a few more. I have one left.
I have a few more. So this is from Chris. For either of us, what does the future look like from you guys?
Wow. That's tough. I think for the future for us, and this is a goal that we've talked about, we want to travel more. We want to go to some more places. Mm-hmm. We talk about marriage, right? That's on the radar. The future for us, I don't know. Like I have to say it's been so great. And every day's great. Like, and every day's like a new challenge and new fun. And I don't know. For me, I think that for you, it's continuously like you're always leveling up in your career. You're always working on really cool projects, really big projects.
Yeah.
I don't know. You answer that too. What
No,
would
I
you
mean,
say?
I think you hit the nail on the head before. Is that you started your own company, career oriented. So you're more looking like, I think that's like, if you look at like a 1 to 2 years, I think that's kind of what you're looking to do. And like you said, marriage could be down the line.
A brunch wedding.
A brunch wedding, yeah.
My team will literally sometimes they're the young ones and like, yeah, I'm going out, I'm meeting someone at 10. And I'm like, it reminds me of
10 a.m.?
It reminds me of the 30 Rock skit with Tina Fey. Remember, she goes, like at night, all the time they go out that late. And you and I are like, no, not to sidebar. But yeah, I think for us, the future, it's just, I think for me, it's about continuing, we're building our relationship. And I think this was interesting. And I know it sounds cheesy, but I've learned more about you even tonight. And I always feel like I'm learning your weird quirks and other stuff as the years go on, right? And you get to know the person. Like I look at our neighbors who've been married for 58 years, and it's incredible. I'm like, oh my God, I would love to. Can I be together with somebody that long? Like it's impressive. But I think for me, it's growth of the company continuing for me to grow people. And I know you love that. I think that's the one thing we have in common. So we work with a lot of smart people. And I think for me, it's not just growing my business to be like, oh, how can I make more money? For me, the most important thing is how can I grow the individuals on my team? So I'm helping them blow the cap off their capacity, whether that's here or helping them level up to get to another spot. That's what I love to do, is to grow people, to lead people, and help them be better.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what is in my job as well, where I have a lot of younger engineers on my team that I coach, teach, and mentor daily. And it's great to see them grow in their position, and it gives me, satisfaction to see when they do something really good, to be like, wow, like you got it. And they're soaring and growing so well. So
yeah, and I'm
proud of them.
I think the other thing is too, that's what I would say. When I started the company, right, you've been so great with me when it came to, because I really didn't lead a lot of people in my last job, right? Like I would work with people, we'd collaborate, but when you're leading people, right, there's different approaches and different strategies, and I think I would always bounce off to you. Like if I have something going on with them, how can I be better at X, right? And you're like, well, maybe you should try this approach. So definitely. Okay.
Want me to go? I'll go against it. You have one more.
Okay.
All right, so this
Team, are you still awake? Okay, just checking.
Oh, boy. So this is for me, and this is from Lori Ann. Where did you learn to bake like that? What is your go-to dessert recipe? Yikes.
Which I have to say, you're not only an incredible cook, like the food you make for dinner just blows my mind every night. I'm like, how did you figure this out? Like the way your brain works.
Yeah, so I think
the baking is insane.
It really comes down to when I was a kid, and my grandmother and my mother, my grandmother would always show me how to cook, how to make all these recipes. We'd have family recipes, and I would want to always help. And that was always passed on from my grandmother to my mother to me. And I just always loved cooking, and I think it's more, not even about the cooking aspect, but more of the satisfaction of like you enjoying what I made. You know what I mean? But on the dessert side, I mean, I obviously had like a little semi-business called Fancy Pants Donuts, and that was kind of like maybe my go-to at the time, where I was, making all these different types of flavors.
They were like gourmet
donuts. Yeah. And ultimately, when it just became more of a job and not necessarily a hobby anymore, and I kind of lost interest. But I've been doing a lot of, on the side baking and for friends and family. And I think really the go-to would be, always going back to my roots would be the donuts, essentially.
It's always hard, too, when I come home and I'm like, who's this tray of brownies for cookies? You're like, don't touch that. Somebody paid me to make those. Yeah, definitely. All right, let me get to this question. Okay, this is for Ryan. Do you have all that energy all day, like right out of bed, even before coffee? What would you say to Kim Deo?
Yes, yeah.
I think you touched on it earlier.
I mean, when we're downstairs together in the morning now that we see each other, I have my coffee. I take it in the car to work, and you haven't even had anything.
And I'm like,
you're like running circles around me, and I'm like, can you please?
Yeah, it's a lot.
I need a minute.
This is a lot coming at you in the morning.
I mean, I'm good once I'm up for a little bit, but I think the second you roll out of bed, it's like you're on.
I'm ready. I'm like, let's go.
But like we talked about before, as soon as it's off at night or in
Light
the
switch.
late afternoon, it could be, then it's off.
Yeah. Usually by 5:36, I'm like, that's why I also try to. I always say too, like if I have to look at important video content, right, or projects, I'd rather do it in the morning. So if people send me something at night now, I've gotten better. Instead of saying, oh, I'm going to watch this and give you feedback right now, I am giving like a lesser version of myself to people, and that's not fair to them. If I'm viewing content or trying to vet stuff for like our company at 7 o'clock at night, like 5 a.m.,
Yeah,
6
that's-
a.m.,
yep.
I'm ready to rock, right?
Yep, same with me. I mean, you work out in the morning, which helps as well, get through the day. So, I mean, it's justification why we're exhausted at night too, because I go to the gym after work as well. So it's been a long day from 6 to 6, essentially. So I can shut it off where you need a little bit more time to wind down.
Yeah, he yells at me. My bedtime routine takes an hour and a half. You have a few more.
Yep, I have
I'm
a
so
few more.
excited. What's next?
All right, so
I thought there'd be more dramatic
so
questions.
this
I know
is
they all
from
scanned
either
it.
or from Patrick. What made you fall in love with each other, and who said "I love you" first? Do you guys have date nights?
I feel like we have date night like every night.
I think we have date days.
Yeah, there's no date nights. I agree with you. We have date days where, especially like on the weekends, we'll go eat at 11.
2 o'clock.
So, well, yeah, well,
Sometimes early dinner.
that's
early
dinner,
bird
2
special.
o'clock. Yeah. If we do lunch, sometimes it's 10:30 or 11, right? Together.
Because we wake up so early, though. That's
Yeah.
why.
I mean, we're up during the week, I would say, usually before 5 a.m. for sure.
Easy, yeah.
Easily. I'm at the gym usually a little after 5 o'clock. He's at work early. But I definitely, not date nights, we have date days. But I do feel like every night at home, I always say, too, the best part of my new chapter is being able to eat dinner with you every night and watch our favorite show. So that always feels like date night to me, especially when you can wear, like, your comfy clothes and sweats and stuff. But what was the other part
So
of it?
no, there was a couple. So the first one was what made you fall in love with each other. So for me, it was immediately like the ambition. You know, you always strive to be better. You're so goal oriented and not stagnant, and that's really appealing. Where I am the same way as well. So I can't have someone, you know, that's
Right.
I'm not going to say lazy, but not as goal oriented as myself.
I agree. I think, well, one, to echo that, but I think it's just the person you are and the human you are and just how you literally, like your laugh, right? The laugh cracks me up when we really get you going, and all of our friends would say the same thing. I think it's your laugh, but I think it's the way you're just such an incredible guy and human, and the way you treat people. And it makes me better, because sometimes when I'm like, I need to do this, and you're like, you need to slow your roll, and here's how I think you should handle this situation, right?
Talk about it.
And talk it out. And as far as like who said I love you first, I don't know. That's a tough one. Was it me? Was it you? Was it?
I don't
It
know.
was. Everything went quick, I
Yeah.
should say. I mean, we moved in together rather fast, and we bought a house together quickly, right? We got Metcon, and it worked.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I mean, we're almost at 10 years.
It was
like
probably at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, look, little sound effect. Yeah, 10 years, like a decade together. But I think it was quick, and to me, I don't know. It just feels like, even though we've been together for 10 years, I just feel like it's just been so seamless
Yeah,
and so
easy.
cohesive. And there's been no rough patches where it's been like, what am I still doing in this relationship? And I see people struggle with that. But I also think it's a trust thing. I think it's knowing we always have each other's backs. I think we're both extremely driven and ambitious in our careers. And I think there's people who are in our lives who we really care about, and we feel the same about them. And I think we feel the same about each other. And I think we know what makes the other one tick. And I think delivering that, like, right, whether it's surprising the other or just doing something nice for them, and if you mention something like a week ago and it shows up on your doorstep, right, like, I think it's just paying attention to
Yeah,
the
the
person.
small things.
Yeah, because the small things add up to the big things where we are today.
Yep.
And the last question.
I have one more. So this is for me from Kim. What do you think about Ryan's new business venture?
Ooh, that's a good one to end on. That is a good one to end on.
So I think it's great. Super proud of you and where have you been and where have you've come now. To his team too, like the support that they give you and the support that you give them is amazing. I'm so impressed by the move that you made and how quickly you built up the business to what it is now. I know sometimes you have issues trying to shut it off, but I understand that, being a business owner, and I appreciate that. but sometimes you just have to, unwind and relax. But I couldn't be prouder of the position you're in right now.
Oh, now what am I going to do? Oh, I thought he was queuing up a sound effect. I don't know. Do you have any other final thought? That means a lot to me, and you've told me that too, and that's meant so much. And obviously, I wouldn't be where I am without you, and also giving me that push and that nudge to say, I think it's time for you to go shoot your shot and do something different if that's what you're hungry for and you want to do it. I don't know. I feel like, we could talk about a lot of stuff, but I think the thing is, you have only, and I think whether it's friendships or relationships people have, you have made my life better every day. And if you can be with somebody like that who literally just brings out the best version of yourself, both personally and professionally, I think it's been an incredible match made in heaven, as cliche as that sounds. Yeah, I just love the guy. I think Q is a button. Look at him. Anyway, the laugh. I love it. Anything else? Was this as awkward as you thought it would be?
No,
chilling
not
on
at all.
Because I know sometimes you're like, do I really have to get in this picture?
No, it wasn't bad.
But you are kind of like the opposite.
Is there pictures after this?
No, yeah, probably a few. But you are kind of a little bit the opposite of me. But I think that's why it works. People always joke and say we're yin and yang, right? And I think that's why it just works. Because could you imagine if there was two of us?
We'd be bouncing off each other,
butting heads all the time. But that's, I think, where I have my weaknesses, those are your strengths, and vice versa. Yeah. And I think that's what's made for such a super stable and incredible relationship that we have. All right. The only person we're missing, by the way, on the couch is Metcon.
Aww.
Who's taking a siesta right now. All right.
He had a rough day.
Yeah, sleeping. Thanks so much, everybody. And my guy, Matt. You guys asked, we delivered.
Yeah.
Love him to death. And this has just been so great. And I know we've tried to get you on this podcast for a while, and thank you for doing this and just being comfortable. And thank you, everybody, for submitting these questions. I hope you learned something. I always learn something new. That was kind of cool seeing where his headspace was on some of those questions. But I'm so glad you were on the couch today. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I appreciate all of your questions and being a part of the Ryan Leckey Show. This journey, being honest, transparent, hitting us with anything that was on your mind. This was fun. So I love you, and I love you. See you later.